I'm worried about my kids. For obvious reasons. But I'm worried for some reasons that may not be so obvious. And I know that's trite. I know every parent worries about their children. That's what you sign up for, you know. They don't tell you this at conception. They should, but they don't. It's part of the job description. Duties as assigned, worry about your children. Because every parent really wants their kid to have a better life and a better opportunity. It's just kind of inherent in the deal. It comes. It is. And I believe right now, in this moment in time, this is the most challenging atmosphere, context, world in which to advise your children on which way to go. The irony is, I spend my day job working in education, where we prepare kids all the time. So if anybody's actually supposed to know what they're supposed to be doing, it should be me. But as I'm working on the education system over here, I see what we're doing. And right now, we're building a pipeline that only goes in one direction, period. And then I go to my home and I see 3 hooligans. And they may or may not fit within that system. And it's confusing to me. It was much easier to be a dad 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, because the dad playbook only had 3 plays. And you could use these plays for any situation. And the 3 plays always worked. It was much like Woody Hayes football. Run to the left, run to the right, run to the middle. Every one of these pieces of advice you would give, your children would embrace and they would work. What's the secret of life, Dad? Get as much education as you can. Great. What else? Buy a house. It's the best investment you will ever make. Perfect. What else can I do, Dad? What's the secret? Go to work for a big corporation that has generous benefits and a great pension plan. Is that it? That's it in a nutshell. Call me when the grandbabies come. I'm done. All right. Yeah. 2 of those plays are gone. Should I buy a home? Oh, no, don't buy a house right now. Well, the market's going to settle when? Maybe 2020, okay? Go to work for a big corporation with generous benefits and a pension. Good luck finding that. So the third one we're still hanging on to. Get the best education you can. And why are we hanging on to that? It's because it works. It has worked forever. I'm scared to death to push this button, just so you know. This is the history part. No, it's not. Come on, baby. God save me. This is my grandfather. Came over to this country as an Irish immigrant orphan. He is the start of our family tree. He is the seedling. He graduated from the 8th grade, and that was all the education he needed. It worked for him. Learned a trade, started a family, bought a house. His house did go up in value, had kids. One of them was my father. My father only had to go past the 8th grade to get to the next level. So it wasn't a really high bar. My father ended up being a high school graduate, 1938. He rode that high school diploma from blue collar to white collar, and we drove all the way into middle class. Raised 6 kids. Told you I was Irish. Now you know I'm Catholic. all 6 kids went and got a college degree, because that's what you do. You just keep moving. All of us, or except for one, there's always one, it's usually me, but in this case, all of us have advanced degrees. So it seems like the right thing to do, just to keep going down this path. 8th grade, high school, college, advanced degree. And then you start thinking about the cost for my kids. Average bachelor's degree is about $100,000. Average master's degree is sitting around $30,000. For my kids to beat me, they got to get PhDs. You want to put a number to that? That's $152,000. Add that all up, and it's more than $250,000. Multiply it by 3. I'm not quite the Catholic my father was, but it's a big number. So the first policy question about leading all kids to college is, who's going to pay for it? And a lot of eyes come to me, especially an ex-wife, but that's a different TED Talk. And it's a lot longer than 18 minutes. This is a big chunk of change. And while I work every day in the coal mine of the education system pushing all kids in this direction, if we can't answer who's going to pay for that, I work for a superintendent, large urban district. She should have been my mother. Her favorite saying to me was, "David, are you just stupid?" And and sometimes the answer was, "Yes, ma'am." But she said, never ever set up a program that you can't sustain, especially with kids. Never ever create something that you can't do forever when you're dealing with kids. Never give them a Christmas and then 3 days later take the presents away. We have to solve this issue. If we really want all kids to go to college, and I don't think that that's not the right thing to do, but you do have to pay for it. And I hear from time to time people say, well, you know, when there's a will, there's a way. That's BS. When there's a bill, you got to pay it. That's the reality of the situation. If you want all kids to go there, figure it out financially. And by the way, we're the adults in the room. The issue with all kids going one way is that kids fall out of this system. If all kids need to get to this college level, somewhere along the way, a kid will fall out. That was great for my grandfather and my father and my siblings because there was an economic safety net. We had somewhere to go. The skills needed to survive today, unless you're talking about a Walmart job, require at least post-secondary education. We don't worry about that. We don't worry about that. Even though we've heard from year after year after year after year that the system's broken, 30% of the kids don't make it through the system. And it's just a big number. It's a speck on the wall. It's a data chart until it's one of yours. Are we really willing to create a system that a decision that a 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old makes crunches them out of the game of life forever? Is that really the kind of education system that we want? Make a wrong choice, sorry, you do not pass go. It's over. We keep trying to make all kids fit this one mold. We keep just pushing them in, shoving them in. You can get math, you can get math. It's a deficit-based system. We only work on the weaknesses of kids. Kids have strengths. All kids have strengths. And I know that sounds fluffy, but that's okay. They're on this earth for a reason, and they all have something to offer. And we just can't discount them because they're not strong in math and literacy. And the other idea is to beat them to death in math and literacy and not nurture any good skill that they have. Something is very, very wrong. We keep pushing, we keep driving, and we make it happen. Kids are caught in this crossfire. Have you ever bought your kids a new pair of shoes and like 2.5 hours later, they're 3 sizes too small? But Dad, my feet hurt. Being the wise, educated person, you say, shut up. I spent good money on them shoes. And I spend like 99% of my life trying not to be a hillbilly, but those things come out of my mouth and it happens. I am that person. The interesting thing is the kid's the one who adjusts. The kid's the one who comes back to the game because the adult, the kid understands that logic and reason have boarded the bus and are never going to return. So the kid knows they're going to be stuck with these shoes for, okay, can I have a Bandaid? We keep trying to Bandaid this system over and over and over again, and it was built for him. Unfortunately, it's for her and him and him and your kids. There is one quick way to fix this system, and that's to make every kid an Irish immigrant orphan. Can we eat? Do your times tables. Okay. That's not where we want to be. We have to design a system around kids instead of what adults want. We have to take the centered focus on what the child's strengths are and build from there, instead of telling them what they can or cannot do. We like to judge kids. What's really interesting to me is my daughter's labeled as a dropout. She's got a scarlet D. To be very honest with you, I dropped out right before my dissertation, and I'm known as a scholar. What's the difference, really, of when you leave the system and when it's right? I started this talk by stating that I'm worried about the kids. That's true. I worry about them every day. What's also true is I'm worried about my grandfather. He came over to this country with nothing but sand in his pockets. And from that birth, there are 6 of us who are living the life. We are blessed in every which way that you can be blessed. And if we don't figure out a new system that taps into this next generation of kids, that family tree that he started is going to wither. I want to do it for them, but I also want to do it for him. And I hope that you will at least consider the possibility of a new education system that supports kids and their strengths. Thank you.